So to start off the video, I want to make it clear that the changes I would make to GameStop wouldn't necessarily save it. I mean, GameStop has been just going downhill since forever, since digital gaming and digital gaming is taking over, especially since the announcement of the Google Stadia system. It seems like in just a few years, GameStop in general is just going to be absolutely obsolete, and pretty much game stores in general. But having said that, there's some changes that I would make that I think could be beneficial to it. And again, I'm not a big business type person, so I can't really say for certainty how well this would work out for GameStop. But this video is basically a hypothetical. If I somehow crazily, somehow insanely got access to GameStop and just was basically running GameStop, like the entire company, and was like its CEO. So this video is basically just a hypothetical. Keep that in mind as we move forward. GameStop. Why am I even doing this video? Well, this video, I was at work the other day, and I was talking about GameStop. Somehow came up into our conversation. I don't know how it came up, but my work friend, he was like, what if GameStop like sold you the company for like 25 cents or something like that? I'd be like, man, I would jump on that in a heartbeat. I know it's a failing company, but I would jump in a heartbeat, and I would try and turn around the company. And they're like, oh, really? So what kind of changes would you do? How would you save it? And I was like, you know, I'm going to do a video about this. First things first, really, we got to find the worst locations, the locations that are getting the least amount of profits, and we need to take them and we need to like liquidate that completely. We need to like completely empty out those stores so that we can shut them down. So the idea is to basically mark everything as like 35% off, 50% off for a couple days, sell as much merchandise as you possibly can. Once that couple days is over, shut down the store, ship what didn't sell to the second worst locations, and give those the merchandise. And then from there, those second worst locations get a 10% off, like a 10% discount on everything, like either indefinitely or for a few months. This way, you can get more traffic into the stores that aren't doing so well, and then completely shut down these stores that are doing the absolute worst. After that, the biggest change, well, not really after that, while that is happening, or kind of after, maybe even before, probably one of the first things that I do if I end up with GameStop somehow is basically change GameStop's name. When you hear GameStop, you don't really, you know what GameStop is. GameStop just doesn't, it just straight up does not have a very good reputation right now. So the best move for GameStop right now, maybe not the best move for them right now, but a good move for them right now would be to completely change everything about themselves. They need to become more about gaming, more about gaming and gaming culture more than anything else. Right now, they're just a game store that sells game merch and games, like physical games. That's all they are right now. They're not really gaming culture. They're gaming. So if they feed to gaming culture, they can do that. But they need to get rid of their name. So something like gaming culture could be their new name or something to that effect. But they really, really need to get rid of the GameStop name, because everyone sees GameStop, they see the name, they immediately are like, man, it used to be so good, now it's not. It's sort of like Blockbuster. Blockbuster is a big meme. Everyone knows Blockbuster. It used to be this big store, but then it just completely shut down because it just couldn't keep up with times. So now if another store came out called Blockbuster 2 or something like that, it just wouldn't do as good, because everyone would be like, Blockbuster isn't that great, actually. Which, when you really think about GameStop, it's not really that great. But if you change the name, people are like, oh, this is a new store. So basically, change the name, people will think it's something new, even if it's not that much different. Which, of course, it would be very different, because it needs to be very different. So after that, the third thing that I would do is I also probably wouldn't do this for all the stores, just possibly because of how expensive it would be, especially since it would probably require a little bit of expansion on each of the buildings that you do it to. But I feel like maybe you could start small, like some of this like 1 or 2 stores that are doing really well or doing really poor, hopefully get more customers in by expanding it a little bit, and basically add a whole extra room that is dedicated to people being able to come in and just play video games. So the way that it would work is that you can come in, you go into the whatever the GameStop is called now. We'll call it GameStop for now, but it wouldn't be called GameStop. So you go into GameStop, you go up to the clerk and you're like, I want to play some games. They will say, okay, we have 3 different cards or something like that. one of the cards would be like, okay, you can play for a couple hours. The next card is you can play for a day, and then the next card is like a gold special card or something like that that allows you to come in whenever you want, and you get to play for an entire week. Then the card expires. So you buy your card. Let's say you buy the 24-hour card. You get your 24-hour card. They give it to you. There's a date on it and everything. So there's you can't just cheat with it. You go up to the room or whatever. Maybe it's like just as simple as just like activating it, like just scanning it on a lock pad of some kind, and then unlocks the door. You can come in. Maybe something to that effect, or maybe better yet, there would be an actual clerk there in front of the door that accesses to the other room. You're like, okay, let me see your card. You show the card. Maybe they have a scanner. They scan it, or essentially it's as simple as just them looking at the card and be like, okay, this isn't expired. Go right ahead, and then the guest goes right ahead. And so in this room, I imagine there would be like one of each brand new console. So when the PS5 comes out, the PS5 would be in there. But right now, there would be like an Xbox One X, a PS4, a Nintendo Switch, maybe a 3DS, some handheld games, and different stuff like that. You can even have a little section dedicated to tabletop games as well. Because again, I think what GameStop needs to do right now is to become about gaming and gaming culture instead of just about video games. Like they sell a little bit of gaming culture merchandise, but that's not enough to put them over the top. That's not enough to keep them afloat right now. So basically, that's what they would do. That's what I would do, is that they'd sell the card or whatever. You go in, you can buy, you play as much as you want. And basically what this would allow you to do is, if there's a new game out, for example, if a new Call of Duty game came out or something, you're like, man, I'm so hyped for this. You come in, you're like, man, okay, should I buy the game or should I try it out first? You can buy the hour card or the 2-hour card or something like that, or you can buy your week pass or your yearly pass or something like that. And so whenever you want during the year, you can come in and basically play any game you want because you've already paid for it, basically. So the yearly card can be like, okay, it's like $12 a month or something like that, and you can come in and just play any of our games for however long you want, basically. So that's how that would work, and I think it could get people in. But that's just my thoughts on that. So what else would I change to GameStop? They just need some more digital industry access, so they need to do something with digital games as well. Maybe not necessarily selling digital games, but being some sort of service similar to the Google Stadia. Maybe they team up with Google Stadia and is being like, okay, they have access to these games or something. Maybe they can do something. I'm not sure what is possible with this, but they need to do something with digital gaming. That is the final thing that I would change, is just put all of my focus, like I would be having that stuff happening, but while all of that is happening, I'm putting 100% of my focus on digital gaming and how I can implement that into a physical store. Anyway, that's it for this hypothetical. Let me know in the comments what you would do with GameStop. Potentially, if nothing else, if all else fails, I would just flip the entire store. Like flip all the merch for crazily cheap and then just completely shut down the doors, if nothing else. But again, let me know what you would change with GameStop if you somehow miraculously and incredibly ended up with GameStop and became the CEO. Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all of those wonderful things. And until next time, I have a new camera, and this is the remote to it. So I'm going to press this button, and the video is going to end. Hey, so I tried this like 3 times. Each time it just didn't work. For some reason it didn't film, so I'm going to do it from my phone instead. Basically, so I forgot to add something to the GameStop video. So if I somehow miraculously, insanely became the CEO of GameStop, here's what I would do to also improve it. And it's something that I failed to mention previously in the video. So basically, it would also start focusing on PC side of gaming as well. So imagine you go into GameStop and you can buy used PC parts, or trade in your used PC parts, or just buy a brand new desktop, monitor, or laptop. So imagine you can do this, but also there's games and stuff too. And then, of course, everything else that I mentioned on the list. It's something that I would look into because PCs are pretty much always going to be around. People may eventually stop going to stores for them, but PCs in general are pretty much always going to be around. And if it comes to the point where your store is no longer required or no longer needed, then you can ultimately become an online business where, again, you're doing exactly what GameStop is currently doing, except under a new name, and you also do the computer parts and stuff like that. So again, imagine you can go into GameStop, say, hey, I want to build this really awesome desktop PC, this really awesome powerful gaming laptop, or this really awesome powerful gaming desktop, and you come in and they're like, okay, so here's the parts we have. We can build it for you for this fee, or we can sell you the parts for their base price. And then that happens. Maybe you decide, hey, I want you to build it, and then all right, come in on this date or any time after this date, and then you can pick it up, and you're set. If you don't pick it up like a month after that date, then you get refunded, and we get to keep the stuff. That way, if someone was like, hey, I'll do it, and then they just basically like never show up to take it, you have that in your inventory, and you could normally sell it, but now you can't. So anyway, that's what I would do if I somehow miraculously, insanely became in charge of GameStop as the CEO or what have you. So yes, that's what I would do. I would also throw in that in addition to everything else that was on this list. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video, or just, you may have already seen the rest of the video, but anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all of those wonderful things. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye.